Hi, my name is Corey Minter, and I'm president of Trinity Employment Specialists. Trinity is a staffing firm. We staff for travel nurses all over the country. We're located centrally here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, staff all over the country, and really intensively throughout our region in Missouri, in Arkansas, in Texas, in Kansas. We have a lot of people working in these cities. This particular video is 13 social media statistics that travel nurses should know about. So this is interesting. Travel nurses, they love their jobs and the adventures that go with traveling, discovering new places. But there are a lot of small little things that you need to take into consideration as a travel nurse, especially if you're more of a veteran, or if this is something that you're wanting to continue to do, or even if you're just brand new to it and you're just now looking into it. With this COVID-19, we've watched hospitals lay off more nurses than we've ever seen in my 11 years of being in a medical staffing firm. And I'll bet you that we've seen more nurses get laid off than at any other time in human history, because the medical field has always continued to grow. But now they've shut down hospitals if they're not dealing with COVID-19, but they're empty because there's not enough COVID-19 patients, despite what we hear about. So now we've got a lot of nurses out there looking, and they're looking for new opportunities. And now more than ever, they might be open to travel nursing. So these are some statistics that you ought to really consider that I think might help you out just to understand the industry a little bit better. So let's get going with it. The Career Builder partnered with the Harris Poll to conduct its annual survey on the practice of employers searching through social media sites to research not just prospective employees, but also current employees. And the results are staggering, and this is also related to travel nursing. Number one, over the last 10 years, the number of employers who screen prospective candidates through social media searches has increased by 500%. Okay, before we are allowed to even have someone go on staff, yes, they look at your resume, but right now, I'm telling you, they're looking at your social media, and you need to mind your social media and make sure that you don't have something up on your social media that is going to create concern. Right now, more than ever, the hospitals can be more and more picky at who they have on their staff. And one of the number one things they're doing, they're paying the nurse double what they normally would be. And they're paying an agency to find the nurse. So they're going to try to go get what they're paying for. And if they're going to pay double the price, they're going to make sure that they're getting a really great quality nurse. One of the ways that they're screening you out is through social media. And so if you have a bunch of pictures about you getting drunk or doing some crazy things online, although that might be your personal life and no one wants to mix that in, and we want every one of our people to be able to have a personal life, but we don't want some of our partners to make a decision and stop you from being able to get a job, all because that you might have something on social media. Even be careful with things that people tag you in. And make sure you control your social media and have it saying about you what you want it to be saying. So be very careful there. Number two, 60% of the employers have searched job candidates by browsing through social networking sites. And so you should expect this from employers. Right now, social media is one of our top ways to recruit and connect with people. And you can't help but it being a recruiting tool and not going and seeing what people are doing on social media. Be very careful with that. Number three, 49% of employers discovered information online that prevented them from hiring potential candidates. We've had employees that we went online to just do a general search, and we're watching them doing drugs at a big party. or anything crazy like that. And it has obvious reasons for concern, especially if you're going to go in the medical field. We have a rule here at Trinity. We do not want to hire a nurse that we would not be comfortable working with our grandparents in the hospital. We want to hire people that we're totally comfortable taking care of our grandparents personally. And so that is one of the stipulations that we try to hold ourselves to, or standards that we hold ourselves to. And so if you see a nurse doing drugs online, that does not fit that profile. Number 4, more than 25% of these employers found content on these sites that resulted in either a firing or severe reprimand of current employee. I don't really relate to this personally because I've never had a story like this where we went online after we employed the person, found something online. However, there are multiple stories, and this is coming from Career Builder. There are multiple stories where this does happen, and you need to be careful at what you post online. And if for any other reason, this is a part of your permanent record. You'll want to make sure and just conduct yourself in a way to where, you wouldn't have regrets, especially with something that you would post up online. That just gets really tricky. But the more that I'm, to me, this doesn't make any sense. But the more that we are in our field, we realize that not everyone sees it that way. And so you'll want to make sure and pay close attention to that. Number 5, of all the employers within the healthcare industry in this survey, a whopping 59% of them utilize social media to research prospective candidates. And so not only that, but they can go back and see, does their resume and what they're saying about themselves, does it make sense based on social media? You can go onto LinkedIn. Many times we go onto LinkedIn and look at someone's LinkedIn profile, and it doesn't match their resume. So then you've got questions, and you're like, hey, what's going on here? And keeping in mind that almost 80% of interviews, people lie to you or tell you maybe it's not a direct lie, but it's some kind of misleading information. So if you're an employer, you've got to be very careful at doing your due diligence to make sure that you're getting correct information. Because keep in mind, we're hiring nurses here. These are people that work with people, cut on people, stick people. We need to make sure that we're providing the best quality we can. Number 6, 53% of this survey said that it's to determine if the prospective employee has a professional online persona. And like I'd mentioned earlier, I'm getting a little bit redundant with this survey, or this survey is a little bit redundant maybe, but you'll just want to make sure that your actions reflect what people would expect a professional to be like in that field. Be very careful with that. Number 7, 30% said it's to see, the reason they get on there is to see what others are posting about the prospective employee. Hey, I've not ever thought of that before, but that's a really great perspective. You can see what comments are like about the prospective employee and see what other people think about them. How much conflict are they into? Have you ever met people like this, and all they do is get online and they've got the sharpest tongue online? They hide behind that keyboard and they say some of the most horrific things. Well, some of those people are nurses, and you don't want to bring those people into your culture. You got to keep in mind the hospitals are doing this on our behalf as well. It's not just the employment agency that might be looking here. It's also the hospital. Number 8, 21% said they're looking for a reason not to hire the prospective employee. You've got to practice the practice of just weeding out first. Let's find, why shouldn't we hire this person? And that is a very, a lot of people would look at me or someone else that would say that and say some really negative things about that. But the brute reality of it is, if you were going to hire somebody to come into your house and be your housekeeper, and work personally with you, you might try to do some searching to make sure you're hiring somebody that is trustworthy. And so when you personalize it like that, you can kind of understand the employer's perspective. Last one here. 46% is due to provocative or inappropriate images or videos. Of course, this is just a given that you see this online all the time. And number 10, last one here, 43% is due to references to potential candidates using drugs or drinking, which we went over before. But for us, it's just the references in general. We definitely want to check the references and see what other people say about them, especially people that have worked with them before. But social media is a really big thing, if you can tell. We've got another 10 things here that other employers listed on this survey with Career Builder. So I'll do another podcast doing 11 through 20, and please check that out. But if Trinity can help you in any way, shape, or form, we would love to be a resource for you. Please give us a call at 918-622-2588, or you can visit us online at trinityemployment.com.